Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei got harem with Raynare? Part 3. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Who are you and what do you want with Lord Thanos? On Saturn's largest moon, Titan, multiple aliens used their lances to block the path of two strangers. Belphegor hissed under his breath and deactivated his cloaking that camouflaged him. Next to him, Astaroth held a blank look on his face. He turned to the large red, mentally unstable demon next to him and said, "You be quiet and let me do the talking. In the meantime, summon Lord Lucifer." Belphegor hesitantly nodded and immediately opened a communication portal. "Master, we have found Thanos." Satan replied, "I'll be right there. Actually, I'm bringing the other 4 generals with me." Astaroth turned to the guards, or rather the purple figure sitting on the throne behind them. "I presume you would be Thanos. Our boss would like to meet you. We have summoned him." Thanos narrowed his eyes. Several seconds later, he spoke. "Guards, leave us." Not wanting to face the wrath of their overlord, they did as they were told. Belphegor and Astaroth were left alone with their potential ally, waiting for their master to arrive. The tension was so palpable, you could cut it with a knife. 16. A portal appeared in the shape of a blood-red pentagram, and from it emerged Satan Lucifer with his other 4 demon generals. Icon of Sin, Cyberdemon, Asmodeus, and Belial. Satan telepathically communicated with his generals. "All of you, stand back. Do not get in my way." "And who might you be?" said Thanos the Mad Titan. "I am a being so feared by humans that they call me the devil, leader of demons, Satan Lucifer, God's mortal enemy. However, even I am not all-powerful against my enemies. Thanos, I have heard great things of you, that you are my equal. I propose we become allies." Thanos smiled evilly. "Oh? Interesting." He rose from his throne and walked forward, stopping until he was a few feet from the devil. "You know, in this universe, I cannot see everything that happens, but I have been keeping my eye on a place in Earth called the Underworld, and one faction there calls itself devils, even though they look human. From what some of my spies have told me, one of their leaders, as well as a few others, calls himself a Lucifer. If they're devils, what about you? Where are your demon kind? And why do you want me as an ally?" Satan felt his blood boil at the mention of Surziches and Rizivum, but after calming himself, he answered the question. "My kind are hidden in a dimension that belongs to only us, one that isn't in here. I want to be your partner because my kind are under attack. This may be the only way I can ensure our survival, as well as to make sure our tormentor may be killed." Thanos frowned. "Who?" "We call him the Doom Slayer." The Mad Titan crossed his arms. "If you want to be my ally, prove to me your strength." Satan, without looking at the gas giant planet, unleashed an insanely powerful shockwave of magic with his left hand, instantly pulverizing all of the other 52 moons orbiting Saturn. Thanos' eyes widened in surprise for a moment. "That was faster than I expected. Alright, we have a deal. I will summon the others here." Satan looked at him, confused. "The others?" Thanos grinned. "My new slaves." He raised his left hand, which held a strange gauntlet. There were small, vacant holes under almost every finger, as well as in a spot on the back of his palm. The space under his middle finger held some sort of strange blue gem that glowed as he opened a portal. "This is one of the Infinity Stones, the Space Stone." The portal was massive and stayed open for a minute before slowly closing, revealing several confused beings. Among these were Susanoo, Izanami, Hades, Balder, Freya, Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, Indra, Loki, Fenrir, the evil dragons, Rizivum Live and Lucifer, the old Satan faction, Kao, the hero faction, Kakabiel, and thousands of rogue fallen angels. "Welcome, minions." They all turned towards Thanos' voice. "You are now my subordinates as well as the underlings of my new partner and his 6 men. My name is Thanos. Now, introduce yourselves." They were shocked, especially the gods, but the first to react was Kakabiel. "Who do you think you are? I don't take orders from anyone." The others agreed, and channeling nothing but their anger, they all simultaneously conjured the strongest magic they could use and fired it at the 8 beings. A huge explosion shook the moon. "Heh. That's what you." Rizivum began to speak, but before he could continue, a bright blue light illuminated through the smoke, and suddenly, a black hole appeared, sucking all the smoke away, revealing the ones they attacked to be unscathed and calm with Thanos at the source of the light. "Get." Thanos sighed. "What do you call yourselves again? Khaos Brigade, was it?" Hades cautiously replied, "Yes." Satan glared at Rizivum. Taking one step forward, the beings that attacked them suddenly felt a massive weight pushing them down, forcing them all onto one knee. "Kneel." The demon lord bellowed, frightening the now kneeling minions. He sighed as he continued speaking. "Attacking us was the biggest mistake of your life, fake devil." Rizivum's eyes widened, gritting his teeth in pain from the pressure. "What did you say?" Satan used the force to pull the devil as well as Kakabiel towards him, holding them by their necks, choking them. My name is Satan Lucifer, and I am the real devil. You MAGA devil scum are no devils or demons. You are all fakes who haven't seen actual battle in your shitty existence, and I will enjoy making you my bitch. Rizavum! Shouted a worried and furious Kateria. They were all officially terrified. Meanwhile, on the Kuo Academy rooftop. So, let me get this straight, Issei said. You are all from different dimensions. Yes, it does appear that way, Vega said. Issei pointed at the Master Chief and Arbiter. And you two are from over 500 years in the future from a different dimension. A super soldier and an alien. Chief nodded. Yeah. Secretly, he is keeping an eye on the Doom Slayer, who is currently anxiously pacing back and forward in an agitated manner. Issei sighed before he turned to the others that just woke up. And who might all of you be? Vega spoke. I am Vega, the AI of my human counterpart, the Doom Slayer, who does not talk. The girl spoke next. She held a sword and had long black hair with red eyes, wearing an all-black shirt and skirt, except for a red tie and red belt. I am Akame. Nice to meet you. Next was a boy wearing a white cardigan and black jeans. My name is Iki Kurigane, and this is my girlfriend, Stella Vermilion. He gestured to the pink-haired girl next to him, who nodded at Issei's group. Issei nodded. Do any of you have any ideas why you were brought here? I am just as confused as you. This earned him many headshakes, and Issei scratched his head. Raynare leaned into Issei's ear and whispered, Darling, it's possible someone brought them here, a god perhaps. He looked at her with uncertainty. You really think a god like being would summon a group this weird? She nodded. I do. It seems someone is getting bored. Issei grunted. HMPH. In that case, you will all need to find a place to stay. I can't help you, but I think it would be wise if Akame stayed with Kurigane and Vermilion while the soldiers and aliens stick together. I will need one of you in each group to exchange contact information with me, though in case something happens, this town isn't exactly safe for us supernatural beings. The Arbiter tilted his head. You are not human. Issei nodded. It's complicated. I was born human, but now I am a fully fledged dragon, specifically the Red Dragon Emperor. Anyway, forget about me. Where are you people going to stay? I have plenty of money to buy a mansion if I wanted and even more, Stella said. Iki, you should give him your phone number. Her boyfriend nodded and exchanged information with Issei. I have tapped into a database that tells me everything there is to know about this town and found a place, Vega spoke. Issei Haidu, I have sent you a text message. Issei opened his phone and found a new message that read, Hello Issei Haidu. This is Vega. I will send you the address of the place once we get there and make sure it is a safe hideout to use. He nodded. Sounds good. All of you, stay safe and lay low. The next day, Issei walked into class and sat down, looking out the window, resting his cheek on his hand in a bored manner when Roswa-sensei walked in. Alright, settle down. Roswa began, getting the attention of the class. We have a new transfer student, and yes they are good looking, but please be respectful. The door opened, and in walked a girl that made everyone's jaw drop. She has very long dark brown hair tied into a ponytail that reaches her knees, and she possesses blue eyes akin to that of the dark hue of the winter sky. Writing her name on the chalkboard, she introduced herself. Yo. My name is Arisa Yamauchi. I'm only here for school, so don't get too friendly with me. Nice to meet ya. She came off as careless and cold, maybe even under the delinquent stereotype minus any drugs or gangs, but she didn't care. Arisu scanned the classroom and locked eyes with Vali, and then Issei for a few seconds before looking away and making her way to the back of the classroom by the wall in the same row, but exact opposite side of where Issei sits. Issei felt a shiver go up his spine. Drake, was that what I think it was? That aura? Drake grunted. Indeed, partner. She is a pure-blooded dragon, and a very powerful one at that. She certainly knows that you and Vali are dragons too, and it doesn't seem like any of your peerage are aware. Issei turned to the right to look at Vali, who was seated behind him, exchanging looks of worry with him, before he adjusted his position to sit properly and start taking notes for class. What do we do, Drake? Keep an eye on her. Her aura is oddly similar to another dragon who I can't quite remember, an offspring of someone very powerful. What is it? Nothing. Let's just be civil for now. I am now going to assign all of your partners for this project on Edo history, Roswa-sensei announced, and the students began moving spots to work together as she paired them. Lucifer is with Cadis. Yo, Vali nodded towards the Pinket, who blushed at being so close to the third prince of Kuo. Murayama is with Phoenix. The two smiled and quietly giggled like schoolgirls. Shidu is with Raynare. Irina pouted, wanting to be with Issei and not the girl who she sees as her eternal rival in love. Raynare sat next to her partner. Let's work hard, Irina. She winked at the former angel, earning a HMPH. As Irina turned her face away, making Raynare chuckle nervously. Yamuchi is with Haidu. Don't worry, he is very easy to get along with and is one of my favorite students, Roswa-sensei stated before realizing what she just said and awkwardly clearing her throat. Anyway, get to it. Raynare, Murayama and Ravel watched as Issei pulled a seat next to the newest student and they all giggled quietly at his obvious attraction to her, seeing him blush a little. Irina watched with jealousy. Holy fucking goddamn shit, she is as beautiful as Raynare and Akeno. Issei thought. He shook his head and purged away any perverted thoughts. Smiling warmly at the girl, he introduced himself to her and the two began working together. Arisu sighed, earning a worried look from Issei. Issei blinked. Is everything okay? She frowned. Yeah, I have to go talk to the student council president and explain why I am here. I am sure you know why concerning the political ramifications, if you can even call it that, of trespassing on their territory. Issei nodded. I see. If you want, I can take you there. Arisu shook her head. It's fine. I'll just ask Roswa-sensei. Issei shrugged. I was planning to go there anyway and play some chess with the president. She promised me a weekly match. She sighed. Fine, but don't get the wrong idea though. It's not like we're friends or anything. The Sekiryu chuckled. Sundeer. Lunchtime. Yama-chan, should we go? Issei said without a care in the world, grinning with his eyes closed and annoying the hell out of the ponytailed beauty. Do not call me that again, you weirdo. Nicknames are reserved for people you're close to, and we ain't close. She glared at him and began walking ahead. Arisu was about to leave the classroom before looking back at him. You gonna show me where the student council room is at or what? Hurry up. Issei nodded. Yes ma'am. The walk there was silent. I see. I'll stop by after school. For now, I have another errand to take care of, Arisu said. Issei nodded. See you then, Ya-chan. She blushed, but then she slapped him. Idiot. Arisu ran away at blazing speed. Issei laughed nervously. I should probably apologize to her the next time I see her. He entered the student council room and was greeted by stares to his red cheek. What happened to your cheek? Tsubasa asked. Issei smirked sheepishly. Well, there is a new transfer student, a girl who I just met, and she got mad at me for giving her a cute nickname. Heh. Sona sighed, Tsubaki adjusted her glasses with her eyes closed, and Saji shook his head. A new student? We have yet to meet her, said Sona. She said she will stop by after school, Issei clarified. Tsubasa walked over to a fridge and came back with an ice pack. She smirked at him. Here you go, Haidu. Issei. You all can call me Issei, and thank you, you're a senpai. She shook her head. No prob, and call me Tsubasa. He nodded. So are you up for a game, press? Sona nodded. Go rooftop. Arisu leaned over the railing of the roof, her hands on her cheeks to help rest her head, deep in thought. Looks like we found the hosts of Albion as well as Drake. Indeed. What will you do? I'm not sure. For now, I will continue my observation to see if the Sekiryu is as worthy as you say, father. Titan. Who is that child? He is too powerful to ignore, Satan said. Thanos hummed in agreement. He ruined my plans. Thanos looked down to a kneeling figure in front of him. Kakabiel, could we spy on that child without getting caught? I don't want to put any of my underlings in danger. No sir, I mean Millard. He would sense our presence, and that would only cause a significant increase of security patrolling the town. A new voice spoke. I have an idea, Lord Thanos, Lord Satan, if I may. Satan leaned forward on his newly built throne that sat a few yards to the right of Thanos. What is it, Indra? Issei's house. Raynare and Akeno sat at the dining table, eating breakfast. Ravel, Irina, and Murayama sat in the living room, sipping tea as they watched the news. The American president has been shot by a failed assassination attempt. Sources say it was his own vice president that hired the gunman so that he could take control of the office. Mr. White is in stable condition, despite losing a few fingers. He even took a selfie to show he is well and happy. In other news, North Korea is being levied with sanctions and embargoes for yet another nuclear weapons test in the Pacific. Murayama sighed. That fat bastard doesn't know when to quit, does he? She shook her head. Akeno giggled. Fufu. He doesn't want to admit that North Korea wouldn't exist without their big brother in China. The other girls stayed silent, not caring much for the political affairs of the human world. A magical circle appeared in front of the doorway that leads to the hallway of the first floor. Issei emerged from the circle. Issei, where were you gone so early in the morning? It's not like you to be up and about at such a time, Ravel said. Issei smiled reassuringly. Drake warned me that the Americans launched a nuke this morning, hoping to hit Shanghai. Let's just say I prevented mankind's extinction. Anyway, you all can go on ahead to school. I need to eat breakfast and get ready. They sighed as they got up and kissed Issei before leaving. Issei left his house around 8 a.m. He yawned as he crossed a few traffic lights and made it on the pathway that would lead him to Kuo Academy. He rubbed his eyes when he saw 3 figures blocking his path, one of whom he recognized. It was Arisu, and she was arguing with 2 dragons. Standing side by side was a man and a woman. The woman has dark blue hair and glasses that cover her emerald eyes. The man has messy orange hair and red eyes. Immediately upon seeing them, Issei dived behind a trash can and casted a spell. Invisibility, Issei whispered to himself, the spell cloaking his being. -15, mana. 2487-2502, MP remaining. Mana will fully replenish in 20 minutes. Arisu glared at the 2 dragons. Didn't I already tell you to leave me alone? What don't you understand about that? As much as I would like to continue this conversation, the woman spoke, it seems we have an eavesdropper. You can come out now, Sekiryuite. Issei sighed as he stood up and cancelled the invisibility spell. I'm sorry, this just happens to be my path to school. The man gave him a friendly smile. It's alright, Issei. My name is Tannen. This is my sister, Tiamat. We could use your help with something concerning Arisu here, who you have already met. Arisu frowned. I already said to not get him involved. Tiamat rolled her eyes. Yeah. These are orders from your father, who we cannot refuse. Issei blinked. Well, why don't you start by telling me who exactly the 2 of you are? I can tell you are very powerful dragons. Tannen grinned. I'm your great-great-great-grandfather, as well as the brother of Great Red. You can just call me Grandpa. We are servants of this difficult brat's father. He gestured to Arisu, who glared at him. Tiamat adjusted her glasses. Issei, we will need you to come with us. We want you to meet someone. Arisu lowered her head hopelessly. Suddenly, Issei was teleported away and reappeared in a stadium of some sort. It looked like a much bigger version of the Roman Colosseum. Issei Haidu? A deep voice bellowed. Issei turned towards the source of the voice. It was a massive golden dragon that curled into a ball as it sat in the bleachers. The dragon flew downwards towards Issei, gliding gracefully as it transformed mid-air into its human form, a tall, muscular man with short black hair, golden eyes. He wore a wife-beater and a pair of khaki shorts. Arisu cleared her throat. Haidu, this is Bahamut, the dragon god king, also my father. Issei was shocked, suddenly feeling nervous. Hello, sir. The man looked Issei up and down before he grinned in amusement. My daughter didn't think you would be a worthy Sekiryuite, but I disagreed, and it seems that I am right. The Red Dragon Emperor looked confused. I don't understand, sir. What do I? He was cut off by Bahamut. Allow me to explain. Lord Indra over there, he pointed towards a man sitting in the bleachers, wearing a blue Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses, drinking lemonade through a straw, looking like a smug rich douchebag. I once made a deal with him when he challenged me, saying that if there is ever a host of Drake that I deem worthy enough, he will fight said host in a rating game. If he wins, he gets to inherit all of my possessions, including my daughter. Issei furrowed his eyebrows and glared at Bahamut. Tell me, Bahamut, what made you think it was okay to play such games with the life of your own daughter? Bahamut's sweat dropped. Cut me some slack here. My little Arisu wasn't born at the time. When I made this deal, I wasn't even thinking of having children until I met her mother after this happened. I was a prideful dragon at the time and wasn't even king, Tannen was. Issei blinked. What if I win? I will grant you 3 wishes of anything you wish for, anything at all. I only have one rule that both contestants must follow. No killing anyone. The Sekiryuite sighed. Fine. He turned towards Indra. Why do you want to fight me? Indra stood up, throwing his lemonade juice away. That is none of your concern. All you need to know is that I am Indra, a Hindu god. Let's fight already. Tannen, Tiamat, Arisu and Bahamut teleported to Bahamut's home, watching the fight on a TV screen. Be careful, partner. Indra is among the top 10 most powerful beings in the universe. He can also read your mind. Got it? Boost. 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 16 boosts. Indra grinned. Issei glared at him. Neither contestants made a move until. Suddenly, in the blink of an eye, Issei crossed a distance of 200 meters and reappeared right in front of Indra. He threw a vicious punch that landed on Indra's face, knocking his sunglasses off, shattering them. Indra's body didn't move at all, shocking Issei. Indra shook his head to clear the daze he felt and glared at the Sekiryuite. You bastard. Those sunglasses are Ray-Bans. Do you have any idea how expensive they are? He unleashed a powerful shockwave of destructive magic that would tear a normal person apart on the molecular level, but Issei merely swiped it to the side with a flick of his hand. Seeing this, Indra was furious. Issei jumped back 40 meters when he saw Indra raise both hands. The clear blue sky was suddenly very dark as a torrent of windy clouds appeared. Lightning flashed and thunder shook the stadium. What's he doing? Eat shit, little dragon. Indra roared as he brought his arms down. Issei had no time to react when a massive tornado suddenly dropped on top of him. 300 miles per hour wind slammed into him from every direction. Armor integrity at 75% and dropping. He grit his teeth, but then he adopted a battle-crazed smile. If he can read my mind, then it's time to improvise too fast for this arrogant prick to react. Indra, meanwhile, thought he had already won and cackled maniacally. See, you are nothing. I will do the same thing to the other heavenly dragon too. Fire breath familiar. A voice shouted. Come to me, Ray. I call on your help. I, who am about to awaken, am the heavenly dragon who has stolen the principles of domination from God. I laugh at the infinite and I grieve at the dream. I shall become the red dragon of domination and I shall sink you to the depths of the crimson purgatory. Issei shouted. His eyes turned green as he felt his energy skyrocket. For the first time ever, he is using the juggernaut drive without losing himself in the process. His entire being turned black with the exception of his green eyes as he oozed out a red, malicious aura. Ray roared in laughter. You named the familiar after Raynare? Issei smiled. Hell yes I did. The tornado was blown away by winds far stronger than anything Indra could come up with. A huge blaze of pearlescent blue fire took its place and formed a dragon whose wingspan nearly reached the entire stadium from end to end. Indra's sweat dropped just from the heat of the flames, as well as the insane power he felt the Securitate ooze and what he saw. The Securitate sat on top of the familiar, who rapidly spat blindingly fast blue flames at the god, who was now on the defensive, dodging all he could, but he wasn't fast enough to dodge all of them. Enemy stamina and HP have been halved. After several minutes, Issei was starting to run out of breath. Warning. Stamina is low. 602 thousandths. Recommended method of recovery. Eat and rest. Ray my dragon, release all our energy in one last attack now. Longinus Smasher. Yes, master. The familiar roared. It raised its wings and unleashed an immense wave of wind and fire towards Indra as Issei also fired a very destructive energy beam from his chest. Indra tried to catch the attack with his hands and reflected, but it was too powerful, sending the god flying backwards. Indra slammed into an area of what would have been a section of seats in the stands, but that section was annihilated, the ground charred. He clipped a sharp jagged edge of a wall that, combined with the attack, tore off his arm. The god howled in agony and fell unconscious from the pain. Match set. A voice, Bahamut's, announced. Issei Haidu is the winner. Max stamina has increased by 100. Stamina at 402,100ths. Time to fully recover. 36 hours. The four beings who came with Issei reappeared next to him after he dispersed his familiar as well as his juggernaut drive. Tannen and Tiamat smirked at him. Issei was surprised when he felt a force collide with him, a curtain of dark brown hair blocking much of his vision. Arisu was hugging him. Thank you for freeing me, Haidu. Who knows what sort of terrible things that evil god would have done to me if I became part of his property. She was trying but failing to hold back her tears. Bahamut grinned. What a fight. Now get married you two. Arisu blushed and let go of the hug immediately. Shut up, dad. This earned a laugh from Dragon God King. Anyway, what are your 3 wishes, Securitate Issei Haidu? Bahamut asked. Issei's eyes widened as he then looked down and thought, tapping his chin. Let's see. For starters, how about you do not force any situation that Yamauchi doesn't want to be in on her, she's your own daughter. Bahamut waved his hands frantically. I'm sorry. I won't involve her in these kind of things again. Issei smiled. Good. He looked over to where Indra lay. The god was unconscious for a good minute, but he is now getting up. Indra groaned as he very slowly got to his feet, emerging from the smoke, revealing a missing arm with his shoulder spewing blood. A devious smile crept its way onto Issei's lips. Secondly, I want this piece of shit to be renamed and commonly referred to by everyone in the universe as the Securitate's bitch. Bahamut roared in laughter. Very well, I will make sure that this one is strictly enforced. A word of advice, Indra, I kept my end of the deal, and even though you lost, there is one thing you can learn from all of this. Never pick a fight with anyone whose class is at least Dragon King, much less Heavenly Dragon. You may be quite powerful, but unlike you, dragons are quite intelligent. Indra coughed blood and glared at Issei. Damn you, Heavenly Dragon, in a fight to the death, I would have won. This isn't over. He teleported away. Issei scoffed. Says the guy who can basically cheat by reading my mind and yet he still gets his ass kicked. He cleared his throat as he turned to Bahamut. My last wish is to go on a date with your daughter, of course with her consent. I'll leave it to her, then. The king looked at his daughter, who was blushing even more. He smirked. Fine. She turned her face away, placing her hands on her hips and closing her eyes, nodding to herself. I suppose I can do that to repay you. Yes. This is only to repay you, though. Nothing more, so don't get any funny ideas. You know, I am growing quite old, so when can I expect a powerful heir? After all, I do want to see my grandkids at some point. Bahamut teased. Dad. I'll kill you. Issei chuckled. Son dear. New magical ability unlocked. Stonehenge leaderboard. This sub-ability allows you to see who the top 25 strongest beings in the universe are. This list is subject to constant change and can have multiple beings tied for a position. Issei smiled as he teleported home. Sitting on his bed, he checked the list. Current top 25 strongest beings in the universe. 1. Doom Slayer, Bahamut. 2. Satan Lucifer, Great Red. 3. Office Lilith. 4. Astaroth. 5. Shiva. 6. Trihexa 666. 7. Vishnu, Thanos, the icon of sin. 8. Zeus, Yamada no Urachi. 9. Hades, Tannin, the cyberdemon, Belial, Asmodeus, Belphegor. 10. Susanoo, Amaterasu, Arisu Yamuchi, Tsukiyomi, Poseidon, Izanagi. 11. Tiamat. 12. Hermes. 13. Midgardsormr. 14. Sekiryute Issei Haidu, Crom Crouch. 15. Grendel. 16. Vritra, Awakened, Yulong. 17. Hakuryuku Vali Lucifer, Fafnir. 18. Aidaka, Graphia Lucifuge Gremory, Apophis, Nidhugr. 19. Grendel, Akame, Dulio Jesualdo, Surzich's Gremory. 20. Rizavam Livan Lucifer, Kakabiel, Raynare Haidu, Akeno Himajima. 21. Michael, Azazel, Shemhazai, Indra. 22. Seraphol Leviathan, Raphael, Penemu, Kuroka Tauju, John 117 Master Chief, Roswis, Irina Shidu. 23. Ajuka Beelzebub. 24. Uriel. 25. Ravel Phoenix, Layden. Tryastrica, Mount Meru. In the center of a massive throne room, Indra collapsed as one of his servants ran up to him and immediately began healing him. Bossip Sekiryute's bitch, a voice said. It was Shiva. He was smirking. That was beyond pathetic, Indra. Satan snarled at the now healed and recovering Hindu god, who quivered in fear. Why were you stupid enough to challenge a well-trained heavenly dragon to a battle? Indra, who was currently kneeling, was about to protest. In a fight to the death. You would have died. Satan screamed, his demonic voice terrifying all present except for Thanos, who also looked angry, but with a much larger control over his emotions than his partner. Thanos sighed. Reality is often disappointing. Again, I must ask, why did you challenge the Red Dragon Emperor? Satan growled. Indra looked away with a scowl. I hate dragons. A long time ago, I had evil plans set forth that I thought were perfect, plans to defeat Shiva in a coup once and for all. However, they were foiled by a female user of the boosted gear. The worst part is that such results weren't even the intention of this woman, even though she was my enemy, but she barely tried. I led an army of Hindu gods, my brethren, marching them across major cities from southwestern China to northern Tibet on my way to Mount Kailash, and we massacred so many innocent people to try to lure Shiva out. Unfortunately, Shiva never came, and the Sekiryute at the time showed up, claiming that it was her duty to protect the innocent and that she would punish us for our crimes. We never stood a chance against her. Satan's eyes widened a little. The Sekiryute, no matter which generation, is far more powerful than he initially thought. Then perhaps our best course of action, should we attack anyone, is to steer clear of the heavenly dragons. Do you know what this woman's name was? What happened to her? Flashback hundreds of years ago. A million men marched down hills and into towns, raping, murdering, and pillaging entire towns. The line of soldiers, led by thousands of their gods, went for miles beyond the horizon to the naked eye. In the middle, Indra sat in a carriage being carried by his slaves as he sipped tea. The strategy was perfect. A rumor that Shiva would be away putting down a rebellion against the current dynasty in China was confirmed to be true. The only powerful deity currently in Mount Kailash is Vishnu. This is the 5th town they've attacked, all the previous ones being burnt to the ground. The horsemen went ahead of everyone else, attacking anyone on the streets while the archers covered them. One soldier beheaded an elderly man who used his body to shield a child. Buildings were set ablaze, cooking dozens of people alive. Come here, little lady. A group of knights grabbed a beautiful Muslim woman, forcing her to the ground, causing her hijab to fall off her head. The soldiers removed pieces of their armor as their commanding officer, a man with a large mustache wearing a turban, spoke. We need to satiate our primal lust, and what better way but to do it in battle. We're far from civilized society, meaning no one can punish us for our deeds here. So this technically isn't a crime if no one knows or cares to help, right? Ha 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 ha. The woman's eyes shimmered with fear, and she did the only thing any would-be sexual assault victim could do in this situation. Scream for help. Somebody help. I'm being attacked. The commanding officer's eyebrows twitched in annoyance. Why, you little bitch. I'm going to. He never finished his sentence as he was enveloped in blue flames, startling the soldiers as they too suffered the same fate, screaming in agony before they all turned to dust. The flames receded into the palms of a beautiful blonde woman. The Securitate sighed as she knelt before the scared woman, giving her a reassuring smile as she offered a hand. Are you alright, miss? I don't have much time to talk since I am here to defend these people. You need to head south towards India and do not stop running until you feel safe. The woman nodded as she reluctantly took the hand offered to her, which helped her to her feet. In an instant, the Securitate was already gone. She transformed into a massive dragon unlike anything these soldiers saw, and she was too fast for them to react as she flew at insane, daredevil speeds, spewing flames at every armored man she saw, cooking them alive. The gods were shocked as they had no time to react, and although Indra tried to fight at first, he quickly retreated after tasting the scorching hot flames of his new nemesis. He didn't see her transform back to her human form, but he sensed her and found out who she was quite easily. Flashback end. Indra turned towards the devil. Her name was Elsha, and no, I do not know what happened to her. Mount Olympus, Greece. You called me, sire. Hermes, the Greek messenger god, spoke. Indeed, replied Zeus. I need you to summon the major gods from each pantheon, the ones that we know we can trust. We have a situation on our hands that needs immediate attention, one that affects the world. Start with the Hindu, then visit the Shinto and the Norse. I will gather the other Greeks. Hermes stared at the bearded leader of Greece in confusion. What of the Romans, my lord? They cannot be trusted. And the Egyptians? They never talk and will stay out of this, too. Time skipped several hours. In a massive circular room, a meeting was taking place. Hermes was speaking to everyone. Greetings everyone. Thank you all so much for coming here on such a short notice. Let me start by announcing this meeting's participants. From the Hindu faction, Lords Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva have joined us. He gestured to an open booth where three gods sat. Brahma is the leader of the Hindu faction. However, he is the weakest of the three gods. He's an older man with white hair and a beard. Vishnu wore golden robes that covered most of his body except his upper chest. He has black, shoulder-length hair and brown eyes. Shiva is the most powerful and the most handsome of the three. He has white hair tied into a ponytail that reaches just past his neck, along with bangs that partially covered one of his green eyes. The Norse pantheon is being represented by Lords Odin, Thor, Kratos, and Atreus. Stand up, boy. Kratos ordered his 12-year-old son, who followed his father's lead as they stood to acknowledge their introduction for several seconds before sitting down. Next is the Greeks, who are being represented by myself, Lord Zeus, Poseidon, Hera, Ares, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, Hestia, Hephaestus, Dionysus, and Demeter. Lastly, we have the Japanese Shinto deities and Lords Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and Izanagi. I will now allow my master, Lord Zeus, to speak. Hermes took Zeus's seat as the Greek leader stood up, now the only one in the room standing. Thank you, Hermes. He cleared his throat. I have called this meeting because something big has happened in the human world. I assume Shiva knows what I am referring to. Shiva nodded. I do. Odin looked confused for a moment before he understood. Are you talking about the current Securitate's actions? Zeus grinned. I am. It seems that he, Issei Haidu, has saved the world from humans and their weapon. His smile disappeared, replaced by a serious look. However, I have reason to believe that a group of radical elements of the three biblical factions is responsible for this, specifically something called Khaos Brigade. They want to start a war. Murmurs broke out amongst all the gods, who were silenced after Zeus raised his hand. Amaterasu spoke. This generation Securitate is Japanese, then. He falls under our jurisdiction. She placed a hand on her sizable chest, gesturing to herself, her father, and her brother. What would be your preferred course of action, Lord Zeus? I want you three Shinto deities to keep an eye on the boy and keep him safe where he isn't able to defend himself, although don't interfere too much as I am sure that he would rather solve his own problems than rely on us. He could be a very powerful ally, and we all know that it would be wise to stay on the good side of the dragons, rather than suffer their wrath like we did last time during the Great War. He received nods from the Japanese trio. Thor furrowed his brows as he scratched his blonde hair. Hang on. How can we trust him so easily? Odin looked at his son. Roswis, one of my former servants, has willingly joined his peerage. I only kept her until she found a potential love interest, that girl. He chuckled to himself. She told me that he is a very kind, hard-working lad. Or looked surprised by his father's judgment, but he relented. I see. Whatever decision you make, I trust you, father. Tsukiyomi changed the topic. Anyway, what do we do about this Khaos Brigade? What do we know about them? Auden narrowed his eyes. Not much. We don't know how many of them there are, who their allies are, and who their leader is. All we know is that they have members of all 2 of the 3 biblical factions in their ranks, with the only exception being the angels. We also now know what they are capable of. Terrorism on a massive scale. If they are capable of almost bringing the world to an end through the means of political manipulation, they can do just about anything. I wanted to at least warn you of these 2 things before anything else happens. The Securitate must be protected, and watch out for the Khaos Brigade. Ares glared at Zeus, feeling impatient. Father, I understand the importance of this meaning, but other than the Shinto, what would you have the rest of us do? His mother, Hera, eased Ares. Behave yourself, Ares. You need to trust your father. Ares flinched. Sorry. I just haven't had a good fight in a while. Poseidon spoke to Zeus. Brother, shouldn't we investigate this chaotic brigade? I agree, said Vishnu. We need to know what we are up against. Zeus ran his hand through his long beard. It's Khaos Brigade. For now, I recommend we have meetings with as many of the leaders of certain factions, even the dragons, to negotiate an alliance between our pantheons. Soon, I think one of the leaders among us will need to train the Securitate and his friends. Athena sighed as she tossed her silver ponytail behind her and crossed her legs. I understand the Securitate could use training, especially his friends, but is protecting him really all that necessary? To me, it sounds like he is more than capable of protecting himself and his allies. It's absolutely necessary, Kratos interjected. The boy is the key to everything. You just wanted to use that opportunity to say boy, didn't you? Atreus deadpanned, receiving a grunt in response. Auden laughed. Don't hesitate to give any of us a call if you have information or find yourselves under attack, said Zeus. This meeting is adjourned. Akihabara. Akihabara is an otaku's wet dream. One could only hope to someday visit such a place if they like anime, manga, novels, and video games, and on this fine late Friday afternoon, Issei found himself in this exact location, waiting in front of a maid cafe for his date with the newest student of Kuo Academy. At first, he was confused on why Akihabara was her choice, but he had no complaints. His thoughts shifted to the girl. Arisu Yamauchi. Silent as the night, beautiful as the stars, and lonely as the moon. An athletic, intelligent, and perfect in almost every single way type of girl except for her personality, an ice queen. At Sundeer. Some people would find such a thing to be hard to deal with, sympathizing the poor, virgin, usually oblivious anime protagonists, for finding themselves in such a situation where one of their potential love interests is at Sundeer, constantly kicking his ass into next week for not noticing her feelings for him. Issei isn't one of those people. Most sensible people, such as Issei, wouldn't blame the girl, but rather blame the protagonist for being such an oblivious prick who usually ends up not choosing to be with any of the love interests, breaking everyone's hearts because said protagonist is a playboy beephead. Such thoughts reminded Issei that he is building a harem, but in his case, he actually cares about the feelings of the girls involved and wants them all to be like he has been, an open, honest person who is comfortable with their relationships. In this situation, Issei loves the idea of thawing the ice-cold heart of its Sundeer. It excited him, like taming a stray, feral kitten. They can be hissy, fussy, and even physically harm their human at first by scratching them out of fear, but once they're tamed, they melt and purr in the human's arms adorably. In short, you liked Sundeers because you're a masochist, partner. Oh, shut up. At least Sundeers will always be better than Yandeers, so go ahead and try to change my mind, Drake. Name one good thing about Yandeers. That's what I thought. I do. Issei turned to the voice, and at the sight of his date, he once again questioned whether he was a boobs man or ass man, or rather in this case, a leg man. Physically speaking, he loves every body part of his girls and potential love interests, but if he had to choose a preference, Issei would fail. Arisu is dressed in a pair of short black shorts and a short white blouse that revealed much of her stomach and a very slight amount of her breasts from the side. You don't have to worry about other people staring at me. I have cast an illusion spell on myself so they cannot see me. I didn't know she is such a naughty girl, but at least she is careful. Issei ignored Drake's comment, who was obviously trying to get underneath the skin of his host, and smiled at his companion. You know, the first time I went out on a date was with my current queen and first girlfriend. I flirted with her, but right now, I am just speechless. You look very beautiful. She blushed and pouted up at him. Don't push your luck, idiot. He grinned and playfully poked her ribs. Like this. Push. Push. Issei laughed at her adorable embarrassed expression before he turned serious. In all seriousness, will you be my girlfriend and join my harem? Arisu lowered her head and shyly nodded. Yes. I would like that very much. Issei really wanted to ask her if she would join his peerage too, but he decided that could wait and to not drop so much on her at once. Lead the way, my lady, he teased. She blushed, but she smiled and nodded. Issei felt his heart skip when he saw her smile. What is this? She has suddenly been tamed, as if she were waiting for me to be this sweet to her. It's only because you saved her from becoming Indra's property, Dumbus. There's no way the damsel in distress would want anything to do with you in any other universe. Lucky me. Firstly, they went shopping. Issei learned that Arisu loves to read, even buying some of the same books as him, such as Another, Jio, Uzumaki, and a few others. They both love the horror genre, at least in the form of novels and manga. Secondly, they went to the arcade and played a racing game, which Issei sucks at, getting destroyed by Arisu many times, but he didn't take it that hard. He is happy to see her having fun. Lastly, Issei learned that she has a sweet tooth for ice cream, as they both brought some. He brought a vanilla cone while she got strawberry, which they both ate as they walked side by side. Shall I walk you home, my lady? Her eyes widened and she turned her face away. Yeah, sure thing, Issei, you can call me by my first name. Oh? In that case, I'll be more than happy to oblige, Arisu. By the way, aren't you cold eating ice cream well dressed like that? Arisu shook her head. Nope. I can warm myself with magic. Besides, I'm a dragon, not a little girl who needs a babysitter. Issei smirked. You're still a princess, though. When they arrived at her house, Issei was shocked. This can't be right. I thought your house would be massive for someone who is literally royalty, so why live in a town home? Arisu shrugged as she took out her keys, unlocking and opening the door. I live alone. I don't need anything extravagant if the house has only one resident. Come in. He nodded. Looking around as he entered, he noticed that the home had 2 bathrooms, 1 bedroom, and a hallway that leads to the kitchen. It was a little kitten. The cat happily curled up Arisu's leg and into her arms. Issei stood slack-jawed. Just when I thought you couldn't get any cuter. Arisu giggled. Enough of me already. This handsome fella here is a 2-month-old tuxedo breed by the name of Louise. Louise is the clingy one who needs to be cradled to sleep like a baby. There are 2 more cats in here. Louise's blue eyes looked warily at Issei. He hissed a little when Issei tried to pet him, but he relaxed and even purred a little when the dragon gently scratched his little head. Issei took a seat on a couch next to his newest girlfriend. 2 other cats were playing together, both kittens, but one of them being clearly on the verge of adulthood. That black kitten is 3 months old and is Louise's brother. His name is Kuro. He loves to cuddle with the other cats and me. The little black kitten's yellow eyes looked up in wonder as he playfully swatted at the other cat's tail. The last cat is a 5-month-old calico that I named Khaos. She is a very purry kitty. Khaos is purring as she licked herself to clean her fur. Arisu continued explaining. All 3 cats were strays when I found them one rainy late afternoon. They were in a box, looking scared and very cold, so I couldn't leave them. Do you have someone to take care of them when you're not around? Issei asked, feeling concerned. She nodded. Of course. A sweet old lady next door was kind enough to take care of them every time I go to school, and you know the thing about old women. Most of them love cats. Issei was deep in thought. Arisu, I'm actually thinking of moving into a new house nearby, one that I will build with my magic. I should be done with it within 2 days. When that happens, do you want to move in with me and the other girls? She blushed. He scratched his head. It's just that it seems very lonely around here and I don't want you to have to worry about your cats while you're out. I am sure the other girls would be willing to care for them. Well, at least Ravel, Raynare, and Murayama would. I'm not sure if the others like cats, but those 3 would love to have you. What do you say? Arisu gulped and lowered her head. For some reason, she felt like crying, since she has never had friends before due to her shyness, and now she was being given the opportunity to make friends with Issei's other girlfriends. I would love that. Issei chuckled and pat her head as they spent the next several minutes in comfortable silence, save for the purring of the cats. Hey Issei. He grunted as he played with Louise, holding a feather that the kitten swipes and occasionally bites. Harems are common in the supernatural world, especially among us dragons, but I wanted to ask you something. What are your reasons for wanting a harem? He gave her a bittersweet smile and lowered his head, causing her to panic and almost apologize for asking, but he spoke. I have multiple reasons. It's kind of pathetic to be honest, but one huge reason is to satiate my loneliness. I hate being alone, not having people who care about me and who I care about. When I'm alone, my pockets are void of happiness. 20. I hate that feeling, plus I feel like I would go insane without the company of people who genuinely care about me. Arisu's eyebrows arched up in sadness. I see. Is there anything I can do to get rid of some of your anxiety about this? Issei scoffed and closed his eyes before he jokingly said, you could join my peerage. I'll do it. Issei's eyes opened and he looked at her in surprise. What? I was just joking, you know. Her head lowered. Oh. He felt panic sweep through him. But I would love to have you, of course. What kind of boyfriend would I be to deny one of my girls? He pulled out his remaining 6 pawns and looked into her eyes for approval. May I? She smiled brightly and nodded. The first piece mutated by turning blue, hovering on her chest, not disappearing. And so did the second. And the third. And the fourth. And the fifth and sixth before they all disappeared inside her. Issei was shocked. All 6 of my remaining pawns I used on you mutated. She giggled. Well, I am the daughter of the most powerful dragon ever, after all. Issei is now walking home. He knows he can teleport, but the weather is nice out at a pleasant 52 degrees Fahrenheit. I had so much fun today. Issei Haidu? A voice called out to him. It was a man dressed in a samurai's battle armor. Most of it is white save for a few patches of gold and red here and there, such as on his shoulders and left thigh. He is holding a gorgeous teal-colored katana. He has very long black hair that reaches the center of his spinal cord and golden eyes. Who are you? Issei asked. He was calm, but at the same time, he was ready to battle. My name is Susanoo. I am one of the Shinto gods. Indra may have been wounded, but prepare yourself, because I am a much more worthy warrior than that weakling. Hey-ah. Susanoo lunged at Issei and swung his sword in the blink of an eye. Issei waited till the last second and barely dodged as he bent his back, the sword whooshed just past where his head was. Susanoo's eyes widened like saucers. Seeing the deity's shock, Issei smirked, back still bent. Is that all you got? You really shouldn't have gone for the head. Susanoo jumped back warily as Issei stood upright, casually cracking his neck. The Sekiryuite sighed. I'm not exactly sure what the point is in being so powerful when none of my opponents offer a challenge. Susanoo grit his teeth at the insult, sneering at the Red Dragon Emperor, ready to strike again. Susanoo? Issei turned towards the voice and saw a very beautiful woman dressed as a shrine maiden, due to her white kimono and red skirt. Susanoo grit his teeth. God damn it. If my disgrace of an older sister is here, then that also means. Traitor. He turned his head just in time to bring his sword up and block a powerful burst of cosmic wind, stronger than anything produced by the storms of Earth. The shockwave caused bushes and trees within a mile to ripple violently, as well as a few nearby windows to shatter. Tsukiyomi Susanoo growled. Seeing this, the god of storms teleported away, not wanting to fight both of his siblings at the same time. Issei, who was holding a lamppost to not lose his balance from the wind, let go and turned towards the 2 deities who were now floating down towards him gracefully, landing in front of him. Thanks for the save, I suppose. That Susanoo person seems to already know who I am, so I assume you do too. Who are you? The woman smiled at him and suddenly she hugged him. Kawaii. This Sekiryuite is so cute. Wahey. This is serious. Tsukiyomi yelled, pulling his sister off the embarrassed dragon. He grinned sheepishly at Issei. My apologies, Issei Haidu. You are correct since we already know who you are. My name is Tsukiyomi no Mikoto, and this goofball is my older sister Amaterasu no Okami. We are also Shinto gods. Why must you stop my hug? I am only trying to show him my motherly love, Amaterasu whined, pouting cutely, causing Issei to sweat drop. What in the fuck? You're being immature, sis. Tsukiyomi sighed. So what can I do for you? Issei inquired. Amaterasu shook her head and smiled at the boy. Nothing. Nothing at all. We were just passing by. Nothing Tasa here, bye. She yelled quickly, teleporting away with Tsukiyomi. Partner, those 2 Shinto gods are probably watching you to make sure you're safe. It seems you have the blessings of some higher power. Issei felt uneasy at being watched 24/7, but he was glad to know that what Drake said is likely true. Is it because of the way Amaterasu spoke there at the end? She's probably not a good liar. Yeah, but that is usually a good thing. Issei chuckled as he continued to walk home. He was hoping he would make it without any interruptions, but no such luck existed. Naya. The woman fell out of a tree and landed on the Sekiryuite. Issei winced as he found his hand squeezing something soft and round bouncy. Anya. Ah. I'm sorry. Please don't report me for sexual harassment. Issei said as he shot up and looked at the woman. Upon closer inspection, she is actually just a girl around his age. Issei was confused. Who are you? Why did you fall on me? My name is Kuroka Taoju, Naya. I went to Surzich's for help as well as Ria's Gremory, and they both said to find you, Sekiryuite, Naya. Wait, Taoju. She nodded. Humu. Call me Kuroka Naya, and yes, I am Shiren's older sister Naya. Well, you know her as Kaneko, but that's not the problem Naya. I need your help. Issei grew nervous, not sure if he wanted anything to do with someone related to a girl he doesn't get along with. Help with what? My little sister has been kidnapped, Naya. Oh, ha 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 ha. Good one. Wait, how can you say that so calmly? Kaneko woke up with a gasp. The environment around her was unfamiliar, and her hands and arms are tied behind her back. She started to panic, finding it hard to breathe, realizing that her mouth is covered by a large piece of tape to prevent her from screaming. The last thing she remembers is talking to her older sister. Flashback. On her way home from school, Kaneko stopped to buy some donuts. Leaving with a bag of many uniquely different flavored treats, she was about to head home when Shironaya. Kuroka suddenly hugged her little sister from behind, scaring the younger Nekashu. What the? Big sis, get off me. Kaneko yelled angrily, squirming as she escaped her sister's grip. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. All big sis wants is a hug, Naya. Kaneko sighed. Leave me alone. I hate you. You know that, so why do you keep trying to talk to me? Before Kuroka could answer, a group of exorcists appeared directly behind Kaneko and karate chopped a spot on the back of her neck, knocking her out. Seeing this, Kuroka was enraged. She was going to attack when she heard clapping. Bravo. Bravo. A man stepped out of the shadows. He is dressed in all white church robes with a golden cross drawn on his torso. He appeared to be an ugly middle-aged man. Now take her away. Wait. That's my little sister. Why are you kidnapping her? Kuroka shouted. The man turned to her with a sadistic smirk. It's not her we need since she will be used as nothing more than bait, or more specifically a hostage. It's Ria's Gremory's night, Kibayudo. Oh, before I leave, Kakabiel sends his regards. They all teleported away, leaving a worried Kuroka. Kuroka had only one choice. A last resort. Find Ria's Gremory and beg for her help. Running to her house, the same house Kaneko lives in, she pounded on the door and rang the bell a few times until someone answered. It was Zenobia. Can I help you with something? Kuroka panted for air. Yes. I need to speak with Ria's Gremory. She, my little sister, Kaneko, has been kidnapped. Zenovia's eyes widened before she widened the door and stepped aside. Come in. I will get Ria's. Kuroka took a seat on a couch. A few minutes later, a concerned Ria's appeared. She tilted her head at Kuroka, placing her hands on her hips. You said you're Kaneko's older sister and that she has been kidnapped. How do you know this? I saw it happen. Ria's narrowed her eyes. I will contact my older brother. In a life and death situation, he's one of the few people who can help. Moments later, a summoning circle appeared and out of it stepped Surziches and Grafia. Kibo also appeared at that moment, walking in through the front door with groceries in his hands. Seeing the meeting, Kibo leaned against the door as he listened to the conversation. What's the matter, Rias? Surziches said before his eyes landed on Kuroka. His eyes widened. You. Why are you here? Big brother, calm down. Rias, do you have any idea who she is? She's a very dangerous SS-class criminal. Kuroka sighed. This isn't about me, this is about my little sister. She has been kidnapped. Please look, I know that since you're one of the Satans, you don't trust me, but I'm begging you to please help me bring my Shirin back, Naya. Kuroka was channeling a peaceful yet troubled aura, which Surziches recognized. Sighing, he sat down in front of the older Nekomata with a serious look as Grafia stood behind him, ready to fight, glaring at the Nekomata. Tell me everything. The Nekomata nodded. I believe someone from the Khaos Brigade may have taken my sister. He was an old man who said the Kakabiel sends his regards. As she described his appearance as well as what the man said his goals are, Kiba's eyes widened as he clenched his fist. Stepping forward, he spoke. I know who that man is. It's Valper Galilei. Rias was shocked. The same man who was behind the Holy Sword project. It appears so, said Surziches. Kiba was about to leave when Surziches spoke. Kiba, where do you think you're going? He turned to the Satan with a glare. I'm going to kill that bastard. Surziches stood up and flared his aura in a threatening manner, making the blonde flinch. And you think you're powerful enough to handle whatever is waiting for you? What about Kaneko? If you go there and attack, you could risk causing unnecessary collateral damage by getting her killed. Whoever is there is far too powerful for any devil, even Kuroka. I'm ordering you to stay here. The knight reluctantly nodded and sat down next to Rias, gritting his teeth in frustration as Rias tried to comfort him. Surziches turned to Kuroka. I know only one person who can possibly bring your little sister back. The Securite Issei Haidu. Over the last 4 months, he has grown so immensely powerful that even I cannot sense him anymore, since he is able to control his magical signature and lessen it. Only you and Nekomata could sniff him out, but be warned, the last time I checked, he does seem to hold a grudge against Rias and her peerage for a fight they had. He hates your little sister. It might take some persuading from you. Kuroka nodded. Humu. As a Nekomata, I am able to sense 5 extremely powerful draconic auras, all of which are very unique to the individuals. Bahamut, Office, Great Red, and the Red Dragon Emperor. The White Dragon Emperor too, but he isn't on the same level as the first four. I shall leave now and find him. Flashback end. So, that's why I am here, Naya. Kuroka explained, omitting the details of her meeting with Surziches, only including the gist of it. Issei sighed. Look, I really don't give a fuck about Kaneko, so why should I help you? Kuroka smirked as she leaned forward, giving the now flustered Sekiryuite a great view of her cleavage. Well, if you bring my little sister back and kill those who took her from me, let's just say that I have a reward for you, Naya. She licked her lips seductively. Issei's heart hammered in his chest as he gulped. What kind of reward? I'll join your peerage if you have any spare pieces left, Naya. What? Are you sure? I mean, I have a bishop and a knight left, but are you sure? Issei shouted. Fufu. I am, Naya. If you win, you can do whatever you want to me. Issei grinned. I am so getting laid. His smile faltered when he thought of Raynare, and he cleared his throat. Listen, Kuroka. I will do it, but there are other girls in my harem already, one of which is my queen, who I want to give my virginity to first, meaning you would have to wait to have sex with me. If you are to join my peerage, that means you would become a member of my harem, since I only allow the girls I love in it. Well, most of them anyway aside from my sensei, but I am open to being in a relationship with her too, since she is only 20 years old. Subsequently, we would need to get to know each other better before we decide to do it. Are you still sure about this? The Nekomata nodded. Yes, Naya. I am even more sure now that you said that you want me as one of your lovers, Naya. Why though? We just met. You're a kind Sekiryuite who would be willing to go out of his way to save someone he hates, someone I care about, just for my sake. That's more than enough reason for me, Naya, plus there are very few devils who have actually been kind to me, Naya. She pulled out a book and handed it to him. What's this? Issei said. Something I want you to give to Surziches. He seems to trust you a lot. Earning a confused look from Issei, she elaborated, it's my diary. A long time ago, the devils accused me of a crime I did not commit, of murdering my master in cold blood, which I did. I have my reasons, and it was a justified act, but they labeled me a stray and a fugitive. They didn't even give me a fair trial or any trial, really. Naya. She meowed sadly, her cat ears drooping before she looked back up at him with a happy grin. You can read it too if you want to get to know me better, but please focus on rescuing my sister first. After that, give it to Surziches and tell him to use it to clear my name, Naya. Issei, who will likely forever harbor nothing but hatred for Ria's Gremory and her servants, narrowed his eyes in slight distrust. Stay here, I need to do something. Be back in a flash, 21. The Sekiryuite used portal rip. He skimmed through the diary to get to know what kind of person Kuroka is, and he reappeared in the real world with a somber look. I just read your diary. I'm sorry to hear what happened to you. Kuroka shook her head. Don't be. By the way, how did you do that so fast, Naya? Issei smirked. I am a dragon, Kuroka. We're the most powerful creatures to ever exist aside from a few gods, but my potential is limitless. Someday, I will surpass everyone in the universe. Now, since you're a Nekomata, can you sense the current location of your sister? Yes, but it is too heavily guarded. Where is it? The Vatican. There are thousands of guards there, as well as hundreds of ultimate-class beings. Issei smirked. In that case, I will need the help of a very weird bunch. Issei's house. All the girls, including Arisu, are hanging out in Murayama's room, most of them sitting on her king-size bed. You will never beat my best time. Give up. Arisu taunted smugly as she watched Murayama play a racing game on her computer. They're playing Dirt Rally on Steam. From what Issei said, it is a very realistic yet very difficult game. He shared the game with Murayama, allowing her to play it for free. Murayama grit her teeth as she jammed the gamepad sticks in different directions. Oh yeah. Watch this. She pressed a button on the controller that inputs the handbrake. The car, traveling at 57 miles per hour, weight transferred onto its right side, causing the car to drift around a hairpin turn, but much to Murayama's dismay, it oversteered. Due to the high speed she was traveling at combined with a gravelly surface, the car smashed into a boulder. No. Why won't the car move? Murayama said, frustrated as she is unable to reverse, smoke pluming from the hood of the vehicle. Arisu laughed. Ain't it obvious? Your car's radiator has been destroyed. Murayama turned to Arisu. My what now? The radiator? You don't know much about cars, do ya? The other brown-haired girl pouted. No, I don't. Please explain. Arisu smirked sadistically. I ain't gonna go too much into the details, but a radiator is essential in the process of cooling the engine of a car. If the radiator ain't working, the car is too dangerous to drive because the engine will heat up at unsafe levels, start smoking, and sometimes even catch fire. Right now, your car is fucked. Murayama's pout deepened, to which Arisu smiled kindly. Don't worry, darlin'. You'll get better at this game if you practice. Raynare, who sat next to Arisu, said, you know, you're surprisingly tomboyish, aren't you? Arisu blushed. Shut up. I can't help but be passionate about some things that my dad really likes, because when I was growing up, I ended up liking a lot of the things that he exposed me to. We're both nerds. Murayama sighed as she exited out of dirt and turned to the girls. I'm not good at racing games. I only like shooters and sports games. This earned a nod of agreement from Akeno. Ara. I play shooters too, mainly CS:GO. It is so fun killing people. Fufu. Murayama ignored the last part of Akeno's statement and pulled up the Steam page to add a friend. We should totally play together sometime. My username is NathanAlgren22. I'll add you to my friends list. What's your username? Akeno smiled happily. It's XOXO360 Naskapasempixoxo. The friend request was sent. Murayama asked, what about you, Raynare? What type of videogames do you like? Raynare shrugged. I don't really like playing videogames, I like watching other people play them. If I had to choose my favorite genre, it would be horror. Ravel elegantly raised an eyebrow. Really? I never would have pegged you for a masochist. The queen giggled. I'm really not. I usually don't even play videogames. My favorite horror game is Outlast. I like playing it and watching other people play it. Issei has it in his Steam library, if you want to install it and give it a try, you can ask him to share it with you. It's not super scary except when you're being chased, and it has a really creepy atmosphere. The other girls shook their heads except Arisu. I also like horror, so I may do so. Thanks for the suggestion, Raynare. Murayama stared at the only blonde in the group. And what about you, Ravel? I like RPGs and visual novels, especially Odoms. And you, Arena? Well, I was born and lived most of my life in Angel, so I don't play games. Games were not allowed since they kinda encourage materialism. The summoning circle appeared and Issei teleported to his house with Kuroka, who looked around, confused. He explained the situation to the other girls. So, Kuroka is going to join the peerage if you rescue Kaneko? Asked Akeno. She isn't friends with Kaneko anymore after what she and Ria's group did to Issei, but she can't help but feel a little worried about Kaneko since she is the second youngest person in Ria's peerage next to Gasper. Issei nodded. I've come here to tell you all that I will be going to Chief and Slayer to ask them for help. I'd rather not get them involved in the supernatural, but I acquired a new ability recently that lets me see who the top 25 most powerful beings in the universe are, and Chief is ranked 22nd, while the Slayer is ranked 1st. Most of the girls were shocked while Arisu and Kuroka asked, who? Their allies, Issei said. He was about to leave when he was stopped by Raynare, who grabbed his hand. Issei, I want to come with you. No. Why not? Sweetheart, I don't want you getting hurt. He gently squeezed his queen's hand. Arisu glared at him. That's too bad, because we are all coming whether you like it or not, right girls? It is our job to support you, Dumbus. They all nodded. Issei sighed. Fine. This could be a good opportunity to test you all in actual combat scenarios, but if any of you get badly hurt or die, I will be very mad at that person, understood? Yes, my king. They all responded in unison. Issei smirked. Good. All of you are free to fight alongside me, and remember that Ravel can heal us with her phoenix tears. Now, let's go visit the address Vega texted me. The Arbiter quickly learned to not call Chief Demon, the nickname he used very often for John, since that term seems to make the Slayer extremely angry. The Slayer initially responded with sticking his super shotgun into the alien's mandible as if to ask, what do you mean when you call him a demon? I'll kill you just like I'll kill the rest of the demons. He also pointed his gun at the Chief. Instead, Arbiter opted to call Chief Spartan, since that is the type of soldier the Chief is. The place they currently inhabit as their hideout is an underground apartment in downtown Tokyo. It appeared to be connected with an old World War II bomb shelter, which was well hidden in a small, unused cabin-like room inside an underground garage of a high-rise building, meaning they were lucky enough to live in this place for free. They heard the vertical door open and someone close it behind them as they stepped down the ladder and into the apartment. It was Issei Haidu. All three of them stared at the Sekiryu, and Issei stared back, unable to believe what he was seeing. They were playing Uno, and both John and Slayer had their helmets removed, still in the rest of their high-tech armor. The Arbiter never removed his. This is the place, Issei? Raynare asked, earning a nod as the rest of the girls climbed down the ladder. I have to admit that it is well hidden. Issei got a good look at the two helmetless super soldier humans. John, despite being 42 years old, looked several years younger due to much time spent in cryo-sleep. He is a Caucasian man at the height of 6'10" without his armor, 7'2" with his armor. He has freckles on his cheeks, short dark red hair, and blue eyes, possibly of Irish descent. Years of military service is evident on his face. The Slayer has short spiky black hair and terrifying black eyes. He looked to be in his late 20s, but something told Issei that where the Slayer comes from, age makes no sense. His eyes are the only part that spoke a story of age, years of hell literally present in his nearly emotionless orbs. Nearly emotionless, except for his never-ending anger. Issei had never felt so intimidated in his life just from being in the presence of this man said to be the most powerful being in existence. "I win," Chief said, laying down his last card with a smirk, a yellow 2. The Slayer angrily spiked his deck of cards onto the table and turning his face away, resting his head on his hand as if saying, "Whatever. I don't even like this game that much." The Arbiter sighed. "I had only 2 cards left, but it was an awful deck. A red 7 and a blue 0. Either one of them would have made me lose this deck." "Issei Haidu, is there something you need?" Vega asked. The Sekiryu nodded. "The younger sister of a friend of mine, she has been kidnapped by supernatural beings, terrorists, who are holding her hostage in a very well-guarded location. I could use help from you 3 in rescuing her." John turned serious, as if he were being briefed on a new mission. Issei Haidu is an ally, not his commanding officer, but after nearly 4 decades of military service, this kind of behavior, being able to snap to focus on a dime, was second nature to the soldier. After all, he was kidnapped at an age of 6 to be indoctrinated and trained for 8 years of his life to become something no special forces, or in his case, no ordinary Marine or ODST could hope to be. A Spartan 2. His training, combined with the augmentations they injected into him, gave him faster reflexes than almost anyone in every facet of his life, the ability to see in the dark indestructible bones, and superhuman strength and speed. The only one who is faster than him is his old friend and fellow Spartan, Kelly. "I don't think we will ever be able to return to our universe. The Arbiter and I are willing to help you, Haidu. What about you, Slayer?" He received a nod. All 3 are sick of sitting around, itching for a fight. War is all they have ever known. Vegas chimed in, "My core processing capabilities far exceed that of any machinery, robot, or AI in this universe, even you Cortana, no offense intended." "None taken," responded the female AI. "I am able to use nanomachines to create ammunition and weaponry for all 3 of you without limit. If you have any specific tools you prefer, please let me know, and I would be happy to assist." Issei quirked an eyebrow. "You mean you're able to make weapons out of nothing? How does that even work?" "I am not quite sure myself. Usually, since I am the creation of a brilliant scientist and Dr. Samuel Hayden, whom the Slayer and I worked alongside, I do tend to think more scientifically than anything, as I am meant to provide theories and hypotheses. However, I do have a feeling that there is something more mysterious to my many abilities than just mere science. How is it possible that I am able to create something out of nothing by bypassing the law of equivalent exchange? 23. Everyone fell deep in thought, pondering Vega's deeply philosophical question. "Did you, an emotionless AI, just make an anime reference?" Issei shouted. Vega continued. "Moving on to more important matters, let's focus on helping you rescue your friend's sister. You, Issei Haidu, are the expert in the supernatural beings you speak of, as the 5 of us sitting over here are completely clueless in this field. I, for one, do not intend to provoke celestial wrath." 24. Issei chuckled at Vega's last sentence. "Very well. I will now brief you on the situation." He told them everything that he knows about the supernatural starting with the Great War to today. Slayer gave Issei a fierce look. "I want to kill these devils you speak of." Vega announced, "It seems the Slayer wishes to slaughter the devils. Be advised, stay away from the Slayer when he's angry." Slayer scowled. "Oh, fuck off Vega. You know that I'm always angry." "So," John spoke, "how do the 3 of us match up against this Kakabial figure in terms of your Stonehenge leaderboard?" Issei scratched his head. "Well, the Arbiter is ranked 23rd, you're ranked 22nd, Kakabial is ranked 20th, and the Doom Slayer is ranked 1st. Chief's head snapped to the Slayer in surprise. On the center of the round table, Cortana appeared in her blue human figure out of the Chief's chip. "May I have a copy of that list? I would like to bepize it and offer my opinion," Cortana stated. Issei told her everyone's name and position on the list. Cortana placed a hand on her hip, the other against her chin. This Kakabial person sounds like he might not be the leader of this Khaos Brigade you speak of. Although, I do have to say that there is very little we know about some of the people on this list, other than their names." As Cortana scrolled through the holographic copy of the list, the Slayer pointed to a specific name on the list, while glaring at Issei. "What do you know? Start talking immediately. Why isn't God on here?" Issei shrugged. "I have no idea why the name Satan Lucifer is at 5th. As for why God of the Bible isn't on there, well, I'm not sure." "He is dead," Gabriel finished, suddenly appearing next to Issei. "What the fuck?" Vali, who just joined the group, muttered. "That can't be." Irina was horrified. My father is dead. Raynare already knew this fact, but is still in disbelief, even nearly 1,000 years since it happened, earning a look from the Slayer that said, "Are you an angel? Only angels and good humans can be considered as children." Gabriel smiled sadly. "I'm sorry, Ray. You never had a proper father." "Unfortunately, it is true. I fought him in the Great War when he had his angels interfere in my battle with Albion, and he sacrificed his life along with countless others to seal Albion and I in our current sacred gears. Indeed. Our bodies were destroyed in the process, and our souls were locked in this form. Please don't hold anything against our hosts, as they did nothing wrong." The Doom Slayer, who now put his helmet back on, wanted to tear Drake and Albion to pieces for killing God, but he reluctantly agreed. But deep down, he kept hearing the words of the Seraphim chant in the back of his mind. They are rage, brutal without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done. Those words were orders he was given, a religious mission to destroy all the wicked. Irina smiled sadly. "It's okay, Drake, Albion. We could never hate Issei and Vali." Issei cleared his throat. "Anyway, not that I mind, but why are you here, Gabriel?" The Seraphim smiled. "I came here to see my little Ray," she said, pouncing towards her daughter with a hug, making Raynare blush. "Aya. Mom, stop. You're embarrassing me." Many of them were surprised that Raynare is the daughter of Gabriel, except for the two heavenly dragons and Irina, who all sighed. Gabriel cleared her throat. "I see that you made new friends, Issei. I am the angel Seraphim known as Gabriel. Nice to meet you. Who might you three be?" Issei introduced them. "I see. From another dimension, huh? I have no idea what could have possibly brought you here." John spoke. "Anyway, what is our plan? The time is 5:23 p.m. and the sun is about to set. If I do say myself, I think we go with option A, which is to scout out our enemy and attack tonight, or option B. Attack now, which could result in many of us getting injured and killed. I prefer option A." Issei nodded. "Okay, let's go with option A, but I will go myself. If they have a powerful superclass or higher being, they could easily sense the three of you." The Arbiter crossed his arms. "And you?" Issei smirked. "They won't see me coming. More powerful supernatural beings, such as a dragon like me, can neutralize our presence. By the way, before I leave, I need some sort of code word to refer to the five of you." Cortana raised an eyebrow. "Like a team name?" Issei nodded. "Well, Chief and Slayer wear green armor while the Arbiter wears brown, so how about Bronze Team?" John snorted. "That's stupid. Come up with something better," Vega, earning a frown from Cortana. "Team Holy Trinity. The Slayer is the oldest of you three, making him the father. The Master Chief is the youngest and can be called the son. The Arbiter is in the middle when it comes to age and has a religious title for a name, making him the Holy Spirit. The Father plus the Son plus the Holy Spirit equals the Holy Trinity." Issei grinned. "I love it." The three soldiers nodded in agreement. But that said, Issei teleported away while whispering, "Invisibility. -15 MP. 2985 3000, mana remaining. 30 minutes till full recovery. Vatican City." Issei floated high above the buildings. Looking down from his vantage point, Issei began his work on estimating enemy numbers. Song. Halo Reach Ostwinter Contingency. Closing his eyes, Issei used a new spell. Draconic Surveillance. -25 MP. 2963,000, mana remaining. 1 hour, 20 minutes until full recovery. While keeping his eyes closed, Issei's invisible body stayed afloat, but his soul left him, wandering the area. All he saw is darkness. Time seemed to slow down a lot, but it wasn't frozen entirely. For him, it was like using a cheat code in a videogame as he surveyed his surroundings. Seeing the only source of light being red energy signatures in the form of figures, he counted them all, assuming each one to be at least ultimate class or higher. Most of them stood on top of the walls and buildings. He smirked. "So, these are Khaos Brigade terrorists, huh? This ought to be fun." At the center of the sea of red, a flash of green caught his eye. It was Kaneko. She is lying on her side while bound to an obelisk out in the open, her eyes covered by a blindfold, her mouth shut via tape, and her arms cuffed behind her back and attached to chains that were tied to the obelisk. In front of her, in a comfy chair obviously set up by his subordinates, sat Kakabiel, drinking a glass of wine, an amused expression on his face as he watched a Grimoire devil squirm. Issei narrowed his eyes. "Drake," Gabriel said, "Kakabiel plans to restart the Great War, but how exactly would he go about doing that?" "No idea. You will have to ask him yourself." For now, all I can do is this." "Stonehenge," he whispered. Kakabiel description. Current height 6'6". Current weight 178 pounds. Current physique imposing. This boy tall. Current occupations, Khaos Brigade underling middle rank member. Personality psychotic warmonger, burn him with fire until there is nothing left. Hobbies warmongering, killing devils, seducing angels to become fallen angels. Skills manipulation. Intelligence 200 250th. Sanity 30 250th, 1000 is max. Weapon of choice light magic. Age around 2500. Race pure fallen angel, former angel. Current number of wings 10. Class cadre leader. Hiding style mage, example assassin, mage, stealth, etc. Sacred gears, none. Potential super leader class. Level 195 250th. HP 1000 700 is dragon-like. Magical level 200 250th. Magical affinity light and holy magic. New abilities learned. Mana consumption. MP mana. Athleticism stamina 1000 2000 is max. Speed 1500 2000 is max. Strength 1600 is max. Toughness durability 700 1400. Diplomacy negotiation 1000. Intimidation 1000. Charm 100 1000. Weaknesses his complacency and arrogance. Family members God of the Bible, Creator. Notable ancestors God of the Bible, Creator. Friends none. Allies. Enemies all who don't like fallen angels. Current goals, restart the Great War. Issei cringed. Jesus. This guy is basically like if Raynare had an evil twin brother. What a nutjob. Returning to his body, Issei took out the phone Azazel gave him and, making sure flashes off, took a few pictures. He then teleported away. The Holy Trinity HQ. What did you find? Cortana questioned upon Issei's return. Exactly 1000 enemies, one of which is Khaos. All of them are guarding Kaneko at the center of the Vatican, with Khaos being the closest to her. This is going to be a tough fight. Don't tell me you're scared, Dreg. Are you going to chicken out now? Hell no. This may just be a worthy battle for my partner and I, so your host should try to keep up if he can. As much as I'd like to come with you, said Gabriel, I can't. I have an errand to run. Issei nodded. Are all of you ready? Issei said to his girls in volley, to which they nodded. The sun has now set. We will begin our attack in an hour and 25 minutes at exactly 6:50 p.m., which is when total darkness falls. We'll be blind, but so will they. However, I have a feeling that won't matter, since our magic will light up the night sky, but at least we have the element of surprise. Hurrah! Chief said. Issei looked towards Team Holy Trinity. Alright, so here is the plan. The Vatican. Meanwhile, Kiba finally had enough and decided to disobey Surzich's. He snuck away, and after running into Volley at school, who he knows is friends with Issei, he asked him where they're keeping Kaneko, and he ended up here. Volley saw no reason to not tell him, as this would only make things more interesting for Issei's and his plans. I'm coming with you, a voice whispered to his left, startling Kiba, making him point his sword at the person's neck. He immediately relaxed upon seeing who it was. It was Zenobia. If you really intend to do this, then allow me to assist you. Kiba frowned. Why? Because after what Issei said to me the last time I talked to him, when he told me that organized religions are all full of hypocrites, I realized he is right. I still worship God and believe in Christianity, but some of these people you are about to fight have used me like a tool, while they twist their religious words and power to do evil in this world, and that is something I cannot abide by. Kiba nodded and began walking towards the cathedral. Forgive me, Lord Lucifer, but this is very personal, he mumbled. Hey. You there. You're not allowed to be here. A Khaos Brigade guard yelled. Leave him, Eddie. The guard was cut off by his neck splitting open, blood spurting everywhere. In the blink of an eye, Kiba had already unsheathed his holy sword with a diagonal slash across the man's upper torso, instantly killing him. Several feet to his 2 o'clock, the man's head landed and rolled away. Where is Valper Galilei? I want him now. Bring him to me, and I may spare your life while I kill everyone else here. Ha 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 ha. A voice cackled. He's not here. You, Kiba Udo, have fallen for the trap I have set for you so perfectly. He looked towards the sky and saw Khaos. Kiba grit his teeth. And who might you be? What do you want from me? Your soul. I'm Skip. 85 minutes later, it is now 6:50 p.m. Issei had teleported everyone to the Vatican. The Master Chief is now positioned in a very tall clock tower, crouching on one knee, a SRS-99 DS-2AM sniper rifle in his hands. He pulled the slide back, hearing an audible click as the 5x 114mm round moved up into the loader, and he let go of the slide, causing the bullet to slide into the chamber, ready to shoot. High velocity, armor piercing. They'll take the hat off an elite at 2,000 yards. And they ain't cheap. 25, he mumbled under his breath. Next to him, an elite by the name of the Arbiter huffed. He held a Covenant Type 50 particle beam rifle, the alien equivalent of any human sniper rifle. The beam rifle wasn't glowing pink as it usually did when it was in use, meaning it was off. He is waiting for the chief to take the first shot, according to Issei's plan. Flashback. Issei looked towards Team Holy Trinity. Alright, so here is the plan. This mission will be called Operation FBI Open Up. It will have 4 phases if everything goes according to plan. Phase 1. You don't know what hit ya. This will, by my estimates, take up to 4.5 minutes to complete. Master Chief and Arbiter will start the fight by using their snipers to kill as many guards as possible, but you have to start shooting almost immediately, since they will sense us when we arrive. Luckily, I know the perfect place for you to do the shooting from. The clock tower half a mile southeast of the cathedral. It is on the opposite side of Kaneko from where my team will be. Try to kill at least 300 plus. Phase 2. Merry Christmas, Motherfucker. This is where we just throw the Slayer at them and will be the longest phase of the operation. The rest will be significantly shorter. Slayer, I have no idea what you're capable of, but my guess is that they will shit themselves despite being stupid enough to not flee. They'll be too prideful to try to run away and will try in vain to fight you, so have at it and kill them all except Khaos. However, I will be the one to take his life, not the Doom Slayer or any of you. I know, some of you are thinking, but Issei, isn't it easier to capture the bastard? He is a leader after all. No. Fuck him. He tried to kill my girlfriend and queen, therefore he deserves a painful death. Phase 3. Don't worry, FBI on E-chan is here. My team and I rush in, hope that Kaneko is not injured, and grab her. Phase 4. Schwarzenegger style. We get the fuck out of there while blowing up the whole damn place to the ground, killing every Khaos Brigade member in the process. We cannot leave a bunch of decaying corpses behind, or else that will just greatly alarm human governments, so I will burn any bodies myself. This is a great plan, Vega responded. I have come up with a way for us to keep in touch via communicators. The wall volley was leaning on suddenly flipped to its opposite side, revealing too many guns to count and a box of earpieces. Volley, who was startled and jumped away, looked at it in awe. Flashback end. John maneuvered the sniper a little as he surveyed the area. The first guard he saw, he opened fire. The bullet flew straight and true as it tore through a man's skull. The sound of the bullet whizzing by and blood splattering on a wall frightened nearby guards, all of whom the Master Chief immediately killed before taking 5 seconds to reload, his magazine having the maximum ammo capacity of 4 rounds. The Arbiter used a different window and began firing 4 shots before he also had to wait for his rifle to cool down due to the barrel overheating. Within a minute, 67 guards are already dead. At this rate, they would easily meet their goal of 300 plus bodies within 4-5 minutes. But Issei's group, Volley and the girls looked at Issei in concern as he slowly swiveled his head to the left and then the right. I sense something, a presence I've not felt since 26, he said quietly. Raynare blinked. What is it, darling? 117, Hunchback, there is something you need to know. Kibayudo, a knight of Ria's Gremory, is here. Issei alerted Team Holy Trinity, referring to the Chief and Arbiter by their code names. Something isn't right. Kuroka warned us that Valper said that Khaos needs Kiba for something. I wonder what, though? Do you think it's a trap? Arisu said. No idea. Only trap there will be is when I bash Khaos' ugly face in and have him screaming like a girl, that's for sure. Chief spoke through the transmitter. Spartan 117 here. Sounds like other than us killing his soldiers, this is going exactly the way Khaos wants things to go. You should hurry and begin phase 2. Hunchback and I are out of sniper ammo. Over. Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading, 27. Issei joked. Murayama shook her head with a sigh as Issei continued. Phase 2 begins now. Go get him, Rambo. Q-Fight song. Doom, 2016, Ost BFG Division by Mick Gordon. The Slayer charged in, gone before they could blink, but as he left, they could hear the revving of a chainsaw, followed by blood-curdling screams, as well as many gunshots and explosions. Rambo? That's really his Khaosan. Volley deadpanned, making Issei cackle. Khaos had no idea what the hell was going on. One moment, his base of operations seemed impenetrable, but the next moment, that hope was shattered. Loud bangs could be heard from a distance as his guards fell one by one at an unbelievable rate. What is this sorcery? He shrugged. Well, whatever. At least I finally have you right where I want you, Kiba. The fallen angel smiled condescendingly at the unconscious blonde. His smile turned into a frown. Now that I think about it, didn't this filthy devil have a female companion with him? Where is she? The Doom Slayer spun around, easily dodging the light spear headed for him as he grabbed the weapon and hurled it back in the direction it came from. The weapon embedded itself through the eye and into the skull of its owner, who collapsed dead. Raising his super shotgun with one hand, he pulled the trigger twice in half a second and repeated the process 2 seconds after reloading over and over, tearing the wings off multiple angels and devils who were trying to gain some distance from him. "Stop. I'll do anything," so plea a fallen angel begged, but he was cut off by Slayer's chainsaw plunging into his body, his legs falling off as he bled to death, too shocked to do anything but wheeze from the pain overloading his system. The few panicking devils actually attempted to fly away instead of teleporting away. Stupid mistake. The Slayer pulled out his chain gun from his inventory and began heating the barrels as the gun began shooting. The armor-piercing rounds are overkill for a situation like this, but he wanted to make sure he got them all. Bullets arsed through the night sky, lighting up the darkness as they plunged through their targets, whose screams of agony couldn't be heard, either dying instantly or falling towards their deaths. Looking to his left, he saw a massive group of Khaos Brigade soldiers floating in the sky, 200 plus. The officer in charge of the platoon began speaking. "Whoever you are, surrender now. We do not wish to harm you." The Slayer had enough. The last thing the platoon saw is the armored man pulling out and charging up a massive gun. The big fucking gun, or BFG 9000, fired a large green bolt of plasma. The projectile stopped in midair when it suddenly dispersed a massive wave of energy that killed everything within 100 meters. The Slayer sighed as he took a few moments to rest and admire the carnage he laid out. 500 plus dead within 8 minutes. Of course, he didn't kill them all since he wanted the kid, Issei Haidu, to have some fun, too. Speaking of which, it is now Issei's turn. "Titan. That idiot. If Khaos returns, I will make him truly understand," Satan roared, but he cut himself off. Then again, even he wasn't made aware of the existence of the Slayer, nor what the Slayer is capable of. Thanos frowned. He's still wasting valuable resources. Did you see the way he shrugged as 1,000 of the soldiers we lent him are about to be slaughtered? Like pigs in a barn, and he is one of them, just hiding in the shadows. Coward. The Vatican. Alright, girls. Stay close to me. If anyone needs help, don't hesitate to ask, Issei said before he put a hand to his earpiece. This is Big Brother Red, be advised, Phase 3 is now beginning. 117, Hunchback, and Rambo, go home. I'll take it from here. Affirmative, Vega spoke for the Slayer. Roger that. Good luck, John replied. Alright, here is the exact job I have for each one of you individually. Volley, you and Akeno will be our air support. The White Dragon Emperor and the Priestess of Thunder took off and flew away, but not too far. Raynare, I want you to scout ahead. Use your newest trick. She smiled. You got it. Taking off, Raynare flew far above Volley and Akeno and whispered to herself, self-transfigure. Her body transformed into an animal, a raven to be specific, as she flew ahead and did some reconnaissance. -60 MP. 460s, mana remaining. 2 hours until full recovery. Bravo, I need you to stay with Murayama and Arena since they're the most inexperienced at fighting in life and death situations while you have participated in raiding games. The three of you should attack while you can, but be on guard and protect each other. They nodded as they charged ahead, leaving Issei with Kuroka and Arisu. Arisu, I want you to make sure Raynare makes it back to me safely. You're my ace, so it wouldn't hurt to have my most powerful piece protect my queen. Bahamut's daughter nodded. As you wish. She sprouted 12 golden draconic wings and flew away, tracking the queen. That leaves you with me, Kuroka. I know you said you will join my peerage if I bring Kaneko back safely, but I will do more than just that. I will prove to you why I am the worthy king of the only draconic peerage to ever exist. After all, I am not just the Sekiryu, I am also the distant nephew of Office and Great Red. Dimensional gap. Look at our nephew go. Woohoo. Go Issei. You rock. Great Red cheered loudly. Shut up. You're annoying. Office demanded, although she too is cheering Issei on in her heart. The Vatican. Raynare, flying at an altitude of 7,000 feet, surveyed the center of the carnage where the least damage is and saw Kaneko being guarded by Khaos. Something wasn't right. Just as Issei said, Kibayudo lay there, unconscious. Deciding it is best to tell Issei about this, she sent him a telepathic message. Issei, it is just as you sensed. That blonde Gremory Knight is here. He appears to be unconscious and is being held hostage by Khaos. Issei immediately responded, his voice entering her mind. And Kaneko. The Gremory Rook is still here. Do you see any clue as to what that rat wants with the pretty boy? No, unfortunately. Okay. Come back now. I sent Arisu to retrieve you. Be careful. Not wanting to give herself away by getting too close, she began to fly back. However, before she could leave, a light spear suddenly grazed her left wing, causing Raynare to plummet to the ground. Returning to her fallen angel form and sprouting 6 wings, she steadied her fall, gently setting one foot down on the ground before she did the same to the other, dust flying into the air in the process. Raynare looked at her left arm and saw a small trickle of blood roll down her shoulder. She glared at Khaos, who merely responded with a maniacal grin. "Raynare, how wonderful of you to join the party." She quirked an eyebrow. "What party? The one where my boyfriend kicks your ass. You know, if you never sent me to kill him in the first place, you would have a much bigger chance at living, right? After what you have done, you will die, whether it's here or elsewhere." Khaos cackled. "Don't you understand, Raynare? By having him as your boyfriend, the chance that the Great War restarts only increases. Why is that? It's because the other races absolutely hate us fallen angels. How jealous would they be when they learn that we have acquired one of the 2 heavenly dragons, specifically the Sekir'Uate, into our ranks? Add that to the fact that this generation's Sekir'Uate is especially strong, and well, it only helps my goal now, doesn't it?" Raynare scoffed. "You're an idiot if you honestly think Issei would join any of the 3 factions just because of me. He has no allegiance to any of them. As a matter of fact, he has people he hates in all 3 factions, such as Ria's Gremory, Michael, but most of all, you. He is, first and foremost, a dragon, not a fallen angel. Not now, not ever." Khaos sneered and deliberately teleported away from his 2 hostages, appearing directly 100 feet above Raynare. "TCH. Just shut up already, bitch." He suddenly hailed a storm of steel feathers sharp enough to kill a person. Raynare quickly erected a magical barrier to protect herself for the next 10 minutes, assuming she doesn't get hit by a powerful magical attack. -5 MP. 395 460s, mana remaining. 2 hours, 10 minutes until full recovery. The feathers bounced off harmlessly. Teleporting several yards above Khaos land to his 6 o'clock, she unleashed a powerful attack. "Blinding justice," she shouted as she unleashed a similar attack to Khaos. The sky was illuminated bright blue as dozens upon dozens of light spears hailed towards their target. -80 MP. 315 460s, mana remaining. 4 hours, 50 minutes until full recovery. Khaos, seeing how he was too dangerously close to such a powerful attack, used all his focus to create a barrier. The spears bounced off, much like his feathers. Raynare smirked. "Seems like we cancel each other out, although you do look a lot more surprised than me. Were you underestimating me?" The fallen traitor scowled. "Shut up. Even if you're my equal in magical prowess, I still have many more years of battle experience than you. What exactly did you do during the Great War?" "Nothing. You're nothing. So are the fallen angels." "What was that?" "Or at least they will be if you don't shut the fuck up. Seriously, you're the reason why the fallen angels will face extinction if the Great War restarts, or they will at least experience genocide. You may be right about you beating me in a full fight to the death, but that is only because I still have much to learn. It seems my training still needs to be completed, and I am not sure if I'm even halfway there, but whatever it takes, I will do it for the sake of my king. The next time we meet, you better hope you don't run into Issei, or else he will kill you. Goodbye Khaos." Raynare teleported away, all while Arisu observed the entire fight, a smirk forming on her face. "I should start sparring with her." As Murayama, Irina and Ravel cleared the path ahead, killing any fallen angel or devil along the way, Issei, who was leading the way, began jogging before breaking out into a full-out sprint. The others wordlessly followed him. Kuroka skipped from rooftop to rooftop. Vali and Akeno calmly floating above him right as Arisu returned and Raynare teleported next to him. "What happened?" Issei asked. On the way back, Raynare was attacked by Khaos. "I watched him fight since I knew she could hold her own, and while she is physically stronger than Khaos, her magic is still very limited and her mana ain't very high." Issei was pissed at Khaos. He looked over to his queen with worry. "Are you okay?" "I am fine. Arisu is right. My training is far from over. Not just you, Ray. All of us have much to learn, even me, but enough of that. We'll worry about that later. For now, let's finish our mission." They avoided debris and destroyed buildings reduced to piles of rubble as they came upon the obelisk at the center of the carnage, which was the least damaged area, like the eye of a hurricane. Kuroka, Vali and Akeno landed behind Issei as they observed the scene before them. It was Kiba, who appeared to be in some sort of trance. He began to chant. "I, who am about to awaken, am the holy sword wielder who has stolen the principles of domination from divinity. I scream at the infinite and I grieve at the past. I shall become the sword of judgment and I shall bring our reckoning unto this world." The blinding white light illuminated the sky, bringing day to the night. Everyone immediately hid behind something to make sure that their retinas wouldn't melt. "What's happening?" Issei shouted from behind a garden bed. "Issei. There's something important you need to know. Zenobia, when did you get here?" The other Grimoire Knight lay next to the Sekir'Yuatei. I was with Kibo little over an hour ago, long before you came here. He was after someone named Valper Galilei, the man who kidnapped Kaneko. That man works for Kakabiel. Issei, this was all calculated by Kakabiel. As you already know, Kakabiel's goal is restart the Great War. This is how it begins. What do you mean? Issei shouted as a loud, terrifying screech emanated from Kiba. The holy swords. They. You don't need to exert any more energy, Rook of Grimoire, wielder of one of the two holy swords, Kakabiel interrupted. After all, you will all be dead very soon. Kakabiel. Issei roared. Kakabiel ignored Issei and began merging the holy swords. Hauteclear, Galatine, Kalbrand, Totsuka no Tsurugi, Kusanagi no Tsurugi, Excalibur, and last but not least, Kakabiel suddenly teleported in front of Irina and snatched her sword away before returning to where he was, Durandal. Irina was in shock. What? Aren't there 8 holy swords, so how would having 7 of them help you in restarting the Great War? The only one he doesn't have is in Issei's possession, Ascalon. But with 7 of the 8 combined, the danger was obvious as a massive holy aura intense enough to kill most devils simply from being near the Muzd, causing Kuroka, Ravel, and Zenobia to form barriers around themselves. The white light that came from Kiba disappeared, as did he. His body transformed into a sword that merged with the ones in Kakabiel's hand. The voices of angels could be heard doing a Gregorian chant. Kakabiel was now holding one massive sword. Kakabiel cackled. That is where Kibayudo comes into play. I have already stolen Excalibur from him, but in order to make up for the fact that I cannot have all 7, I needed the soul of one exceptionally powerful holy sword wielder. After defeating him in battle and hypnotizing him, the rest was easy. Now, all that's left is to force an angel to kill one of the devil satans, and the Great War will be restarted. Ha 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 ha. Issei's hair covered his eyes. Prick. You are such a fucking prick. I am done playing with you. It's time to put you in your place, bitch. Ha, who do you think you're talking to? Bow down to me and beg for mercy, and I may consider. I, who am about to awaken, I am the heavenly dragon who has stolen the principles of domination from God. Raynare's eyes widened. Everyone, retreat now. Issei is about to go into Juggernaut Drive and unleash some very powerful attacks. Simply being nearby could kill us. Kuroka freed her little sister before grabbing her, and they all began to run back the way they came. Well, all except Vali, who stayed behind to watch his friend and rival fight, as well as Arisu, who was a little concerned for her king's well-being. I laugh at the infinite and I grieve at the dream. I shall become the red dragon of domination, and I shall sink you to the depths of the crimson purgatory. The holy aura of the holy swords was instantly smothered by the massive explosion of draconic aura. Surrender, Kakabiel, and I will make your death painless, or fight me and fucking die a painful, pathetic death. Vali was in awe that Issei had not lost his sanity. Kakabiel was trembling. You bastard. Who do you think you are? I'm the Sekir'Yuatei, Issei Haidu. My heart is pure gold, my head is strong, and my desires will be achieved. One of those desires is to see you dead. This is your last chance, Kakabiel. Surrender, or suffer the consequences. Ascalon appeared in his hands, or rather his left hand's wrist, embedded into his armor. Kakabiel glared at him, trying his best to hide his fear. I choose to fight you. Don't you dare look down on me. He launched himself forward, light spear in hand, and stabbed Issei right through the armor and into his chest. Ha. I got you. Then, he remembered the fear he felt moments ago. Beepizing the situation, something wasn't right. Why didn't the Sekir'Yuatei try to dodge? Why isn't he moving now? Suddenly, the head of the dragon before him looked down into his eyes. My turn. The fist connected with his face and sent him flying back a dozen yards. Kakabiel coughed up blood, but he quickly turned around and got up when he heard a metallic heavy footstep towards him. Issei cackled. Was that really your best attack? Weak. Pathetic. Useless. It was at this moment Kakabiel knew. He fucked up. Before Kakabiel could blink, Issei was already right in front of him. He barely had enough time to bring the holy swords up and block a slash from Ascalon. Their blades stayed in a deadlock as they stared each other down. Issei chuckled. Ha. Your swords are useless. What? Haven't you realized it, or are you too stupid? Never mind that, so I'll explain it to you, Kakabiel growled at the insult, to which Issei ignored. Every holy sword has a will of its own, and if you honestly believe that angelic weaponry will ever bend to your evil desires, you truly are a delusional fuck who is in for a wake-up call. Kakabiel smirked. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. It was me all along. What? The two jumped back, breaking the duel for a moment. Kakabiel grinned evilly. Alper Galilei was not the one in charge of the Holy Sword project. I was. If these swords have souls of their own as you claim, well, let's just say they were tortured enough to the point that they would accept me as their one true master. And you know what the best part is? I am the one responsible for the death of your knight's mother. Issei's eyes widened in shock and rage. Yes. I am the one who killed Shuri Himejima. No fallen angel should ever be allowed to marry into another race the way Barakiel did, and of all the races to choose from he picked a lowly human. Ha 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 ha. What an idiot. And if he really wanted to be with someone who is not my kin, then he should have gone with an angel. Issei's hair covered his eyes. You piece of shit. Do you have any idea how hard it is for a Keno to trust fallen angels? Yet, she still tries. She tries to do what I suggested and interact with Raynare on almost a daily basis because she wants to someday be comfortable talking to her father again. Not only did you ruin her trust in her father, not only have you made her life a living hell, but you have also tried to kill my beloved Raynare twice. For that, I will kill you. The Seker Yuite suddenly disappeared and reappeared in midair on Kakabiel's left. Block. He did the same thing on the opposite side, his blinding speed making it too hard to keep up with. Block. Suddenly, he reappeared in front of Kakabiel, and he attacked, slashing Ascalon in a vertical motion. The movement cut off the fallen angel's arm. Bali and Arisu were in shock. They knew Issei was very powerful, but even they weren't expecting this. Kakabiel howled in agony. Having lost his control over the holy swords due to his missing arm, he began firing volleys of holy and light magic. Issei deflected all of them. Most of the deflected attacks missed, but one light spear found its way back to the caster, stabbing into Kakabiel's kneecap. Now die. Issei lifted a hand and cast forth a terribly painful death on the traitor by burning him. Blue flames exuded from his palms, causing Kakabiel to beg for mercy. He received none. Kakabiel is finally dead, and because of this, the 7 holy swords were separated once again. Thanks for saving me, Issei, said Kiba, who was now back to normal. Most of the holy swords were scattered on the ground except for Durandal, which Irina was hugging while crying dramatically, and the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, which disappeared. Think nothing of it. I had no idea you were here, but you will be happy to know that Kakabiel was the real one behind the Holy Sword project, not Valper Galilei. Valper was just a supervisor, but I killed the real boss. Kiba's eyes widened. Really? That's good to hear. Thanks dude. I gotta go home, Riaz is probably worried about me. Serziches will be upset. He teleported away. Zenobia walked up to Issei. I should go too. Issei, thank you for killing these people here. All of them were terrible people who did awful things, and it is like you said, organized religions are full of hypocrites like these. Issei nodded and she teleported away. New weapons unlocked. You have been chosen as the master of the following holy swords. Hauteclear, Galatine, Kalbrand, and Excalibur. You may now combine them with Ascalon for a permanent upgrade. What the fuck? End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys. Before you go, just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.